Hello students, I am Sucheta Paralkar, teacher in physics, Ferguson College, Pune 4. We have already started with our topic thermodynamics. Now today we will see about classification of thermodynamic processes. Let us continue this by using the smart board. Okay, today we will start with classification of thermodynamic processes. Now, before I teach you classification, just I would like to revise few things. The first thing we have studied, that is thermodynamic state variables. So you are aware already that PVT, that is pressure, volume and temperature, they are the three thermodynamic state variables. And whenever we are studying any thermodynamic process, we know that among these three variables, we will change only two, and the third one, we will keep it constant. So we have already seen this when I taught you the PV diagram. Now today what we have to study is classification of thermodynamic processes. Basically, thermodynamic processes can be classified in two groups, reversible process and a second type, that is irreversible process. So let us see first today what do you mean by reversible process. Okay, so a reversible process is a change that can be retraced in reverse, that is opposite direction. I will explain you, okay? The path of the reversible thermodynamic process is same in the forward and in the reverse direction. Let me explain you this by using the PV diagram, okay? So in this case, the initial state of the system can be restored, and the diagram shows the path of a reversible expansion which is followed by the reversible compression. So now let us see once again the reversible process with the help of a PV diagram. Now already this same diagram I have discussed for my previous lecture, just I am revising. So see here, initial state of the system, that is A. Okay. Now note down the pressure and volume. The volume, initial volume is VI, and the corresponding pressure, that is PI. Now when the system undergoes a thermodynamic process, now what process here? Remember, the first part AB is representing you the reversible expansion. Okay. So when the system undergoes a process of reversible expansion, that is indicated by the path AB in the PV diagram. Okay. Now, what do you mean by a reversible process? A reversible process is a change which is occurring in the system, and you can trace the path of the system in the reverse direction. So see here, the expansion path is AB, this point is B, okay? And the same path I can retrace in the opposite direction. So remember, AB is one path and BA is the opposite path. So are you going to get back the state A? Yes. So have you understood the meaning of the sentence? The initial state of the system can be restored. Means if you start from some state, equilibrium state, okay, and then start the thermodynamic process, for example, the isothermal expansion you are undergoing, then remember the isothermal expansion that is accomplished by the counter process, which is the reversible compression. So this reversible compression that will be indicated by path BA, as you can see from the PV diagram. So remember, reversible process is a process in which the initial state you can restore. Means start from some state and undergo the process, and you are going to get back the same state. Then the process is called as a reversible process. Now, if I give you few examples, this thing will be more clear to you. For example, suppose some ice cubes, I am keeping it in a tray and I kept it on the table. And now remember, the ice is melting. So remember, melting of ice, we assume that the room temperature, that is the temperature of the surrounding, remains same. So therefore, melting of ice, that is one of the example, the process is reversible. Okay, then now what will happen if I keep the ice cubes for melting? You know that the ice is converted into water. Now, can I going to get back the ice again from that water? Yes. Again, that water, I'm keeping it in the refrigerator. So I'm going to get back the ice. So what I'm doing, I'm freezing the water. So see here the examples. Whenever there is phase change, you know phase change means the substance is changing from solid to liquid or liquid to gaseous. Okay, so whenever the change in phase of a substance it takes place, then remember the processes which undergo, they are the reversible process. So the first example I gave you, that is melting of ice. The second example, that is freezing of water. The next example, that is the boiling of water. And the counter example, that is the condensation of steam. So if you see all these processes, you are able to restore the initial state of the system, and therefore all these processes, they are the reversible process. But one thing you keep in the mind, that in case of a reversible process, remember we are assuming that there is no loss of energy. So remember, all reversible processes, they are ideal processes. Now what happens practically? Let us see the second type in which you will understand about all practical processes. So second classification, the second type, it is called as the irreversible process. Now before I give you any definition or anything, I would like to explain this with the help of a simple example, that is thermal equilibrium, which I have taught you earlier. So what happens when the thermal equilibrium between the two substances is established? See here, we have two different substances, they are maintained at different temperature initially. For example, a cube of ice is dropped in a glass of water. Then you know that the water helps the ice cube to melt. And after some time, remember, the temperature of both the substances will be same, and you say that a thermal equilibrium is achieved. Now, can I be able to get back the ice cube from that water? The answer is no. So what do you mean by irreversible process? An irreversible process is a change that cannot be retraced in reverse, that is opposite direction. Okay? So the path of irreversible thermodynamic process is not the same in forward and in the reverse direction. So they do not store, the irreversible process do not store the initial state of the system. Now let us understand this by using the PV diagram. Okay, so see here, AB is a path, forward path I can say, that is one direction the process is undergoing, and now we are going to get back the state A through another path, that is BA. So remember here, whatever the loop we are going to see, this loop, this is called as hysteresis loop. Okay, the loop is called as hysteresis loop, and it tells you that there is some loss of energy when the process is irreversible. Okay, I will give you few more examples of irreversible processes so that you will understand it in a better way. For example, burning of a candle. Okay, then suppose I puncture an inflated balloon. If you puncture, then you know that the air will escape. So that is also one of the example, that in which suppose a block is moving on the table. Then you know that the reason the block covers some distance and then it will stop. So because friction is the opposing force that is existing. Okay, so remember why most of the processes which are occurring in the nature, they are irreversible, because there is a presence of dissipative forces, and due to them the kind of opposition is developed, and there is always some loss of energy, and therefore the process is irreversible process. Okay, so the path, you have seen second point in the PV diagram, the path of an irreversible thermodynamic process is not same. See here, AB is straight line, while the path BA, you may see it is a curve. So both the path, they are different. Okay, so this is a process in which you cannot trace the process in the same direction, and the process is irreversible process. Now after this, we have to see today what are the causes, so that most of the process which are occurring in thermodynamics, they become irreversible. So we have to study today causes of irreversibility. Okay, so causes of irreversibility we have to see. I have given you already the example. Many processes such as free expansion or an explosive chemical reaction take the system to a non-equilibrium state. Now you are already aware what is equation of state. Equation of state we have studied for the previous lecture, PV, which is equal to nRT. Equation of state, it represents the mathematical relation between three thermodynamic state variables P, V and T. What is N? N is the number of moles, amount of substance which is present, amount of gas which is present. So N is number of moles which is constant. R is the universal gas constant which is also constant. So remember, this equation of state is valid provided the system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. Now when you get the non-equilibrium states of a system, now for example, burning an explosive reaction means, suppose I am burning some crackers. So remember, the process is irreversible when the cracker burns. Or another example that is mentioned here, free expansion, which already I have explained you just now. That take an inflated balloon and you puncture it with the help of a pin. Then you know that the air which is present in the balloon, it escapes out suddenly. So remember, these are the examples which lead a thermodynamic system to go to non-equilibrium state. So remember, in non-equilibrium state, equation of state is not valid. Okay? So most of the processes involve friction, viscosity, or some other dissipative forces which are present. Okay? For example, force due to friction. Okay? I told you the example already, the 11th standard friction experiment. You take a horizontal inclined board on which you take a block and a pulley and a string. And then what we are doing? We are finding out here the friction which is present between the block and the surface of the table. So what you will observe, the block will cover some distance and then it will stop automatically. So remember, frictional force is the kind of opposite force which is existing, and due to that there is some dissipation of energy, there is some loss of energy. So the dissipative forces, they are always present everywhere, and these forces, remember, we will try to minimize by taking the surfaces which are smooth if we do the practical. But remember, you cannot eliminate them fully, and therefore it leads to a cause, that is the process will become irreversible. Okay? So remember, an irreversible process is the unidirectional process. I have burnt a candle, I have burnt the cracker. I am not going to get them in an original state. So remember, these processes are irreversible process which lead to a unidirectional. There is only one direction in which the process is going and no other direction in which you can trace the initial state of the system. So these processes are irreversible, and these are all the causes of irreversibility. Okay? So now we have to discuss after this assumptions for discussion of thermodynamic processes. So see here, the first assumption, majority of the thermodynamic processes we will be discussing in the following sections are reversible and they are quasi-static in nature. So what is quasi-static? They are extremely slow and the system undergoes infinitesimal change at every stage except the adiabatic processes. The system is therefore in thermodynamic equilibrium during all the change. Now I will explain you just now in short. Later on we have to study it in details about adiabatic process. So adiabatic process is a process in which no heat is given out or no heat is absorbed by the system. So except the adiabatic processes, all processes we are considering that they are reversible, they are validating, the equation of state is valid because these processes are carried in equilibrium and therefore they are quasi-static in nature. Now quasi-static means the changes in the state variable, they are occurring very slow, okay? So therefore the process is always in equilibrium and the equation of state is valid for all these processes. So the system involved in these processes is an ideal gas enclosed in a cylinder having a movable, frictionless and massless piston. Now already we have studied this in the lot of derivation, the derivation for the first law of thermodynamics and so on. Once again, I would like to emphasize that is regarding the ideal gas, which you have already done in the previous chapter, third chapter, kinetic theory of gases. So what is an ideal gas? A gas for which the intermolecular forces of attraction is zero or no intermolecular forces of attraction is present, the gas is called as the ideal gas. Okay? So what we are considering is a system which involved all these processes with an ideal gas that is enclosed in a cylinder and having a movable, frictionless and massless piston. Depending on the requirements of the processes, the walls of the cylinder can be good thermal conductor for an isothermal process and they can be thermally insulator for an adiabatic process. I have already told you about the adiabatic process, delta Q is equal to 0. Now what do you mean by isothermal process? A process which is carried out at constant temperature. The process is called as isothermal process. So if you are carrying out any isothermal process, then what is the requirement? The walls of the cylinder should be good thermal conductor. And if you carry out an adiabatic process, then remember we have to use thermal insulator so that no heat exchange is possible between the environment and the system. Okay? So these are all the assumptions. And the third one, the ideal gas equation is applicable to the system. So you know the equation of state that is also called as the ideal gas equation, so which is valid for the system. Now after this, today we have to see in details all the four processes. Now see here, P, V, T are the three thermodynamic state variables. Again I am repeating, and if you keep one variable constant and if you study the variation of the other two, then we will study accordingly different processes. So the first process we are considering, that is isothermal process. Now as you know, the name thermal is related with heat and isothermal means a process in which change in pressure and volume takes place at constant temperature is called as isothermal process or isothermal change. For such a system, delta T is equal to 0. Now what do you mean by delta T? Delta T means no change in temperature. So changes in temperature which is equal to 0 means, in other words, the process is carried out by keeping the temperature constant. So such a process which is called as isothermal process. So isothermal process is constant temperature process. I would like to give you some examples so that you will understand. So melting of ice, I gave you the same example earlier, melting of ice which takes place at constant temperature, the process is isothermal process. Now I am keeping the ice cubes on the table in a tray, and I will assume that the atmospheric temperature, the surrounding temperature is remaining constant. So therefore, melting of ice is taking place, and in the process, we can say that it is the isothermal process. Now, if you see your textbook, here in the blue color, they have highlighted the important points. So just I'm taking it for your revision. So for the isothermal process, remember, none of the quantities Q and W which is equal to 0. And for an isothermal change, the total amount of heat of the system does not remain constant when the process is the isothermal process. Okay, so I was able to get the animation which I am showing you. So you can see here that I am heating the cylinder which is containing suppose some gas, okay, and now I am heating it. Observe the temperature in the thermometer. The thermometer is showing you constant temperature. Simultaneously, you can also observe the PV diagram. So when the volume is highest, at that time the pressure has to be minimum. And when the volume is minimum, the pressure has to be maximum. So I think with the help of this animation, you can easily understand the process which is the isothermal process. See the temperature, the thermometer is constant, which is showing you the temperature of the surrounding, which is also constant. Okay. Now, after this, remember today I have taken the isothermal process, and for all 4 processes which we will study later on, remember we have to do the thermodynamics of each and every process. So means exactly what we are doing. Here we have to apply first law of thermodynamics. What is the first law of thermodynamics? Q, which is equal to delta U plus W. Whatever heat energy supplied to the system, part of the energy is utilized to change the internal energy, and remaining part of the energy is utilized to do some work. So therefore, here we have to also consider the thermodynamics when we apply it to isothermal process. Okay, so now for an isothermal process, I am writing the equation of state which is PV, which is equal to constant. Now how do you get this? PV is equal to nRT. Observe the terms. N, number of moles of a gas, which is constant for a given amount of gas. R is the universal gas constant. And what about temperature T? The process is isothermal. So the temperature is going to be constant, and therefore I can write the equation like this: PV, which is equal to constant, which is equal to nRT. Now we have to apply here the thermodynamics. So suppose I am saying that PIVI are the initial pressure and volume of the system. Again, imagine the same thing, that I have taken some gas which is enclosed in a cylinder, that is our system, and we are considering the isothermal expansion of the gas which is carried out. Okay, so suppose let PIVI are the initial pressure and volume of the gas before it expands, and suppose PFVF are the final volume and pressure of the gas after it expands completely isothermally. Then I can write here, I am using now basic equation, that is Boyle's law. So therefore, PV, which is equal to constant. So this is the equation for Boyle's law, which is performed at constant temperature. So therefore here I am writing Pi Vi, which is equal to Pf Vf, which is equal to constant. Okay, this is the second step. Now, we have to find out the work done in the process of expansion of the gas. So therefore, work done dW, it will be equal to P into dV. This is the standard formula which already we have studied. Okay. Now, how to find out the total work done when the gas expands isothermally? So you know that the total work can be obtained by the method of integration. So you have to integrate PdV and the limits of integration, that is from Vi to Vf. Okay. Now why it is from Vi to Vf? Because Vi is the initial volume of the gas, Vf is the final volume of gas. So therefore, the lower limit of integration, it should be Vi, and the upper limit of integration, it should be Vf. And we are integrating PdV. Okay. So now, what we are doing, I am again using the basic equation of state, and from that I am substituting P, which is equal to nRT divided by V. So therefore, our equation for W with this substitution, it will be W, which is equal to nRT integral of dV upon V, and the limits of integration that are from Vi to Vf. Okay. Now remember, students, one thing, whenever you are integrating, you have to take out the constant before you integrate. We are integrating with respect to variable. Variable is the changing thing, changing quantity. So here volume is the changing because we are expanding the gas. So therefore here W, which is equal to nRT, which is equal to integral of dV upon V, and the limits are from Vi to Vf. Now you have studied already the integration in maths. So integral of 1 upon V, which is equal to log of V to the base E. And now this log V to the base E, we are writing as ln. Okay. We are writing ln, which is equal to log of V to the base E. So therefore here I have substituted the limits. First the upper limit and then the lower limit is to be substituted with a minus sign, and then we will get the final expression W, which is equal to nRT ln Vf divided by Vi. Now here, remember, if you are subtracting the two logs, then remember, you know that the numbers we are dividing. So therefore, our final expression for work done W, it will be nRT ln Vf divided by Vi. Ln means log to the base E. Students, today we have seen about classification of thermodynamic processes, that is reversible and irreversible process, and also we have seen the isothermal process and the thermodynamics applied to the isothermal process. I hope that you have understood this well. Thank you.